Namaste, dear friends. I'm Grail. Welcome to the second Satsang. I'm glad to greet all of you. Someday, perhaps, our meetings will be online via Zoom or Instagram, but this will happen when it should happen. And when I notice your interest in such format of communication. After watching this video, you can leave your questions in comments. Then I will have more topics of discussion. Thanks to everyone who responded to my request on Instagram and asked questions. I grouped them into several interesting topics, very important for many people. They are worldly, they are eternal, and I will try to reveal each of them, using all the knowledge I have, before Samadhi experience and after. I want to say that over the past 2 months, my state of living in the fourth state of consciousness has strengthened. I don't have a bad mood at all. It's almost impossible to annoy me. I track all reactions of my ego, and the perception of the picture of reality that I see is very bright, very beautiful. It feels like even my eyesight has improved. But I want to say that these are the consequences of a huge work on myself, which I recommend you to start the sooner the better. So, I would like to start again with the question of health, pain, and the practice of fasting. Everything that is connected with the body, and also I will touch topics about relationships. First, the question was asked about how to deal with pain and serious illnesses. What to do to ease the pain and how to heal yourself. And for this question, I have at least very interesting life hack. When I went to the practice of standing on text in September, right before the experience of Samadhi, I had a goal through pain to abstract and expand my consciousness even more. But my experience was somewhat different. Essentially, pain, what is it? These are certain sensations in the body. But since childhood, each of us was told that the pain is bad, pain is suffering. Sometimes parents asked us to hit the object that hurt us and could say, "This table is bad, my poor boy or girl." And since then, we have a very tight connection, the value judgment that someone is suffering from the fact that he is experiencing a very strong sensations in the body. Such practices, where it's necessary to overcome a very large pain shock, are very useful in that we can, at the moment of experiencing pain, disidentify with the idea that this pain arose as a punishment or stop giving any assessments at all. When I got up on text, all the old mind programs that were peculiar to me in my life rose up. This is a program of self-pity, suffering, victim patterns. And only after 5 minutes left, I relaxed and abstract myself from the pain, which is unbearable. And then I got some transcendental experiences. All in all, I spent at first time on text 15 minutes. Not so bad. I recommend you to try this beautiful practice, though it's very painful. Always when I had pain in my life or illness, I was filled with self-pity. Because in my childhood, my mother felt sorry for me when I was sick and began to take care of me actively. This is destructive program because instead of filling our body with love, focus our attention on healing and recovery, and letting go of the disease, we further strengthen the disease with our assessments and suffering. In this way, we can never be healed, or it will take us longer. Very fast healing is possible if you abstract from bodily sensations and won't give any assessments. If you move the pain into pure observation, into perception from the fourth state of consciousness, where there are no thoughts, evaluations, there is only presence and pure feeling. That is, pain must be observed. Let it burn out everything unnecessary from your body. And then the disease will go away faster. If the fourth state of consciousness is not yet available to you, you cannot detach yourself from the image of you suffering from pain. Go to the doctor, follow all instructions, but again, do not endow the treatment process with any assessments, but rather be sure that the treatment will help you very fast. Pain illnesses are often given to us for healing, and only in our modern society, with distorted concepts, we run to buy tons of pills to drown out the pain and never look into the cause of our illnesses. The body is a very wise tool, as I already said before, and the disease is often given to us so that we can realize ourselves, look inside and ask, why I'm suffering? Why do I need this disease? What do I get from it? What part of me is suffering? Is it me real or only habit or program? This is very important, and we also need to observe in general any assessments of everything that happens in our life, which is given by our mind. A good event, a joyful event, should also be considered as a kind of sensations in the body, without evaluations. Being in the moment, being in totality, means simply living for the body what comes and letting go just as easily. Don't get hung up. Don't connect the programs of the mind to sensations, and then it's much easier to self-realize your true nature and see that life is just a set of sensations at each moment. It's a shot followed by another shot, and it's so unique precisely because we can experience such a variety of sensations. And only the dual perception describes pain and illness as something bad, because in fact everything has a place to be. And when you allow the world to be various, when inside you live only joy and love, gratitude, and you accept everything that comes into your life, then life itself offers you such options and events that will fill you with even more joy. Here I smoothly move on to the topic of reality transurfing and its connection to enlightenment, about quantum physics and quantum perception of reality by the observer. When I first read Vadim Zelen's Reality Transurfing 10 years ago, everything inside responded, yes, this is true. I didn't know why, but my intuition told me that reality is as the author describes. The book is an instruction on how to interact with reality in order to be happy. I will leave a link to the audiobook, just in case, in the description to this video. I also filmed 4 videos on my channel as a summary of the book. What author talks about? That all reality, all the events that take place in our lives, and even the attitude of other people towards us, depends only on how we perceive the world inside ourselves, how we tuned ourselves from within, and at which frequencies we are vibrating with our thoughts. If we are convinced that reality is unfair, that people all sick and evil, reality will confirm this to us like a mirror. Psychological Rosenthal effect speaks of the same. Bible also says, if you believe so, it becomes so. And what does quantum physics say? It says about the fact that sometimes particle behaves like a wave under observation and sometimes like a dot. This means that our reality is not as stable and not as material as we think. And all the masters say that we live in illusion, in Maya. And now I also recognize very easily that life is the same dream, just a very plausible dream. Okay, and another topic. I was asked by one lady how she should interact with a toxic narcissistic man. This theme is quite common because human mind is so sick that sometimes it has a very destructive inversions. such as in psychiatry are called antisocial personality disorders group, including psychopathy, sociopathy, and narcissistic personality disorder. Healthy interaction with such people is impossible. They are unable to communicate without manipulating and using others to achieve their egocentric goals. The explanation is hidden in the specifics of their brain, in the pathology of neocortex. Such people are not capable of empathy at all and never admit that they were wrong because they have absolutely no ability for introspection. They are very categorical and rigid in their thinking. Although introspection is vitally needed for self-study and recognition of our egoistic patterns. The ego doesn't like to be detected, doesn't like to be hurt. The ego is easily hurt. Therefore, I suggest that you never respond to manipulation and simply block such people. Unfortunately, realization of the true nature is impossible for such people. Their consciousness is not able to be realized. They simply don't have such brain settings, and the psyche, especially in narcissists, freezes in the state of small child who perceives the world as indebted to him in everything. Now I have a great compassion for them too, as for endlessly suffering creatures. And I can advise you what to do only from the point of view of psychology, because until you have experienced that the other person is a part of you too, not as a part of your personality, but as a part of boundless consciousness of who you really are. I will advise you, if you don't have children from such person, then you can simply block him calmly everywhere and limit the contact. If you have an adrenaline addiction to this person and PTSD as a consequence, practice Kundalini Yoga Kriyas from the playlist on the nervous system and anti-stress to get rid of adrenaline swings and stop looking subconsciously for meeting with him, because he causes the imbalance of your psyche and your chemistry in the body. If a person continues to haunt you, chasing you, writes to you from different emails and numbers, and so on, you can safely announce in your social networks, even if you have a small number of subscribers, that you are being chased. Post photos of a person, his name, and so on. Trust me, he won't risk his safety because he can lose his freedom in jail. As a rule, they cannot live without a resource and simply switch to a new victim. Remember that imposing you communication is a violation of personal boundaries, freedom of a person, and if you have chosen not to communicate with someone, you have all rights to do so. If you have a child from such person, then all correspondence, all interaction should take place only in official format via email, without discussing personal issues, without personal meetings. If you need to transfer a child, you just say hello, goodbye, and transfer a child. That's all. Of course, it would be better to ensure that the subject is diagnosed by doctors. And if he is, for example, psychopath, then he must be deprived of parental rights, since he will negatively affect the child, and then custody should be completely transferred to you. Here I also want to tell you, as they say in reality transurfing, look inside yourself. Perhaps your awareness is at a very low level and you are captured by your own pendulum, swinging your inner pendulum and reacting to such people, so you can detect the pattern which allows such people to come into your life and heal it. You can ignore such people from the very beginning if you will recognize them from the strange behavior. They all have the same behavioral patterns, and you can search a lot of psychologists sharing these signs, and I also filmed such talks before. It's obvious to me that a person who is thirsty for suffering is addicted to his adrenaline and needs a constant dose, like drugging. So there is no difference if it's abusive relationships, gambling mania, or passion for extreme sports. Reality Transurfing is a unique book that describes how our world works, how we are captured by pendulums, pandemia, war, how people are turned against each other. As a result, we lose control, we drain our energy for nothing. Instead of creating, developing, expanding our consciousness, and taking care of our body, we give all our energy to useless struggle. In general, there is nothing to fight for in life. You can achieve success in another way. You can fill yourself with high vibrational energies of joy, love, gratitude, acceptance, unconditional trust in the boundless consciousness, your higher self, and then reality itself will take care of you. I'm grateful for the quarantine that I just had to let go of the grip of control and all the desires of my ego and surrender to God. By the way, during lockdown, I started recording my prayers for you. And so, when you feel tired of fighting, you just need to rest, let go of the grip of control, relax, enjoy as much as you can, and trust. Troubles happen to wake us up, and the worse circumstances are, the more unconscious we are, the stronger our ego, which starts the chain of karmic events. The ego before Samadhi experience usually is very stubborn, very demanding. It's never enough. We cannot convince ourselves that it's enough for us to live the way we live right now. We always want more, and that's a big problem. Desiring too much, we get nothing. As long as you are dissatisfied with your reality right now, it will continue to throw bad events at you, and this vicious cycle will never end. But as soon as you let go of your grip sincerely, do something that brings you sincere joy, reality will begin to give you pleasant surprises. One more topic that was asked by women, mostly questions about love. This topic is very intimate for me, and at the same time, I'm ready to share my experience and knowledge because all my negative experiences regarding love are just the consequence of my mental illness, my ignorance, and my false perception of love issue. I highly recommend you the book by Salas Dario Sumer, The Science of Love. And the main idea that I want to convey is that every person has a divine nature. There is no such thing like men are bad or women are bad. We are all equal but different. And just only the unity of two dualities of male and female, yin yang, can create divine union. This is Tantra. And when choosing a partner, it's necessary to observe the behavior of a person at a very high level of awareness, to recognize at what level of awareness that person is, before entering into close interaction with him. You understand what I mean? Because when sexual contact occurs, especially in women, there is a very large binding at hormonal level. The hormone oxytocin is released and we become attached to a man. Even if he doesn't suit us at a spiritual level, at a heart level, at intellectual level, connection should be across all energy centers. Roughly speaking, we should have one energy, one frequency of vibrations. Women, dear girls, remember that your purity and your personal boundaries will save you from possible marriage and many years of suffering next to a person who simply doesn't suit you. Be patient, take care of yourself, develop your talents. There are many interesting things in the world besides men. Forgive me, gentlemen, you too. Be selective when choosing partners, since women can also be narcissists, although statistically much less often. Girls, just for now, if you're single, you can communicate with men, get to know their world better, be able to understand them. A woman, this is beauty in all manifestations. Even in extreme old age, the woman can be incredibly beautiful. She must carry beauty in everything she does, even if she's a lawyer or a scientist. I'm not talking only about appearance. A beautiful but narrow-minded woman, not developed spiritually, becomes ugly. I'm talking about the fact that the female energy is creation, harmony and beauty, softness and acceptance. This is a mild power. And men are strength. I'm not talking about muscles, but about strength of creative mind and spirit, the ability to take responsibility for making decisions, doing things, sometimes even surpassing themselves, but not destroying, of course. It fills men with divine energy of creator. Fighting, struggling is not the strategy of women, and I've noticed if I do something with joy from the outside, it seems that I live like a monk or Spartan. But in fact, I don't put effort to my practices, I get high from them. Healthy relationships should be built on mutual respect, allowing a person to be him herself, mind his her own business. There should be no submission, sadism, masochism, vampirism. This is all perversions. People should be devoted and faithful to each other and serve each other unselfishly. This is possible only if both people do it mutually, and not so that one gives all of himself, herself, and the other only accepts, enjoys love, and uses. High love between man and woman is possible only with joint work and high development of intellect and spirituality of both people. Such people, as a rule, have very pleasant appearance as well, even if they are not very beautiful by nature. Everything is in order because they consciously regulate their lifestyle, nutrition, and how they feel. Once again, returning back to the issues of fasting, allow yourself to expand your horizons. Recently, I shared coming out of a person who doesn't eat, drink water, and sleep during 1.5 years. He went to this for 20 years and finally understood how it works. I understood as well, and already in my practice, I feel the truth of what he says. When we accustom the body to intermittent fasting without water and food for at least 24 hours in a row, gradually, with the process of autophagy, all toxins are burnt out from the body, and all stagnations that has accumulated within common food for many years. You can also help yourself with enemas to cleanse the guts. This will make things easier and you will have less detox symptoms. For example, a headache and weakness that very often occur during dry fasting at the beginning. And the more you practice, the easier and more comfortable it will become for you to be mentally and physically in a state without food and water. Your consciousness will also be expanded as a result of fasting. You will be so hardy and energetic that you will be even surprised. Also, you will find that there is no feeling of hunger. There is only desire to create, communicate with people, give your love to the world. This is our basic state. And gradually, when the psyche gets used, we can go for longer terms, 2 days, 3 days. As a rule, on the 5th day, the mouth dries very much. This is the moment when all the chemistry in the body changes completely. The body begins to produce its own water, which comes with the air through the lungs. And then there is a synthesis of another level. In our navel center, Manipura chakra, starts the inner fire, like atomic reactor. This is our natural energy, which is usually extinguished by food and water. With practice, gradually, person realizes and accepts the fact that he can live without water and food easily, and without sleep as a consequence. But for this, it's necessary that a person has absolutely no psychological traumas, no fears, no prohibitions, no mental limiting beliefs. As a rule, all fears are removed during fasting. They disappear approximately on the 7th day, and only joy remains. This is the same as standing on text, because all mind programs are being cleansed. But until you have gone into experience, you cannot judge. Therefore, those who say that it's impossible because it's impossible limit their horizons in vain. I'm completely sure that this is possible. Another question is, do you need it? For me, at this moment, it's enough to eat once a day, get more energy and sleep not 8 hours but 4, which happens very naturally when I'm eating less. And I trust my body. If it leads me into deeper long-term practices of not eating, I will go after the body because I feel my body perfectly. In order to feel your body, you need to correct your psyche, nervous system, so that you understand whether you really want to eat now, or is it something inside you. For example, feeling of loneliness, sadness makes you eat food, drink alcohol or other substances. In any case, I want to tell you, please, don't be afraid if life circumstances suddenly deprive you of food and water. Be grateful. Jesus fasted for 40 days before enlightenment. The world is so diverse that you can simply use different tools to expand your consciousness and increase your energy. This is the main thing. High energy leads to the fact that you have a time, desire to create, develop, and automatically you will move to those lines of life where you're successful, where you're surrounded by care and love of people, where you have many friends and support. Yes, of course, no one is immune from some unpredictable circumstances. But according to reality transurfing, if a person vibrates at high frequency, all troubles bypass him. From my own experience, yes, I observe correlation. That when I'm calm, harmonious, then the people around are also calm, even in transport at peak hour. So don't be afraid to go into self-exploration. It's very interesting and it's like a game. The main thing is to do everything out of joy and love, and not out of protest of ego or desire to acquire superpowers in order to bend the will of other people. These desires, as they say, are from the devil, or reptiloids, if you like. You need to start with mindfulness. Every thought, every action you take, every movement you make must be conscious in your observation. You have to get used to it. You have to reflect upon every opinion about people, about yourself. You must spit out all information you knew about yourself. You must stop the evaluation of the mind, and then the reality will open before you in its original form. And for today, I'm finishing Satsang. Thanks for your attention. If you have any questions, please ask here or on Instagram. I will collect these questions, anonymously voice individual cases, comment or combine them in topics. And together we will go into this interesting study that will help you become mentally healthy, improve the quality of your life. Be joyful, be creative, and enjoy life, which is what we came here for. If you want to work with me on your problems more deeper, you can apply for 40 days marathon. Stay true and kind, the rest things never mind. Satnam.